Hi, this is Roman, and this is video number 3 about how to model stairs and railings in ArchiCAD. So let's jump into it. This is that stairs what we already built in previous videos, and there's actually a better way of modeling handrail, and I was thinking we should also go through that method and check it as well. So if I select this railing, remember we built individual railing here, and then we tried to kind of somehow connect it with this railing, which is a separate element, and it's sometimes not easy to do, and you have to play with this settings. You have to enter proper numbers to calculate this. You have to draw section, and so I'm not sure if it's really best method of doing it, because there's actually a method of building a railing based on both stairs, like one element. So it will consist of 3 segments, similar to what I did on my other stairs here. So if I zoom in here and select this railing, you will see that, oh, this is actually a one element. It does not consist of multiple elements, and I don't even need to try to connect this lower railing with the upper one. So how do you do that? Let's see if we can repeat this again. We'll go back to the floor plan, and I'll just make a copy of our stairs and railings. So select both flights and just make a copy on the side. I still didn't fix this handrail, but we will do that. So how I do that, I just select it, and then I hit Command D as the shortcut, and so it says enter drag reference point. I can click anywhere, and then it says enter drag to point, right? And I hold Shift, and then I press Option, so it gives me the plus sign, and so then I press Enter to finally suggest some distance, let's say 20 feet. So I just made a copy of that stair that we built, and I will now go and just select both of these railings and just delete them. Now I will pick properties. I will just press Option again, and I'll pick properties from this rail, and go to Plan, zoom in, and make sure I have associative on both of these settings here, because it can be static and it will not snap to the stairs. And because it's associative, when I hover my cursor over, you see it highlights the stairs. If I would switch this to static and hover over, nothing will happen. ArchiCAD does not know that I'm trying to build this railing on top of that exact flight of stairs. So need to make sure this is associative. And now if I hover my cursor, it highlights in blue, so I click once, and I would continue, and it looks like it's the reference line. What it does, it should actually be flipped, so I could do it now or I could do it later. I think if I click here and change the reference line, it should, yeah, it will build the railing on the other side. But I think it's actually wrong. There's a stringer on the other side, so that was correct. Yeah, I think that was. We just don't see the stringer here, but that's another setting that we have to turn on. So I would extend the line, and it says enter next node of railing, and next one will be right here. And you see when I hover my cursor over, there's like a little hammer icon, and the stairs is highlighted again, so it just means I'm doing all correct. I click again and it proposes me to continue, so that's what I actually want. I want to continue building this railing, and it says enter next node of railing. Okay, this time you see I hover my cursor over the next flight of stairs and it highlights the other one. It understands that I'm trying to snap to that one, so I click on that, and finally the last point, the last node, what I would generate, it will be at the end of this flight of stairs. So click here, and I could still continue. I could still build my railing to wherever complexity I want, but I can just hover on that node and just click again, and here it is. Here's my railing. So let's take a look how that looks. And here it is. So as we can see, it looks like some of the connections still need some work. Let's try from this side first. I think it's a little easier to change the settings. So I have to select, and we have a reference, the picture on the left that we can take a look. All right, so here's that handrail, and the guardrail, the top rail is also incorrect, right? So let's select it, click edit, select this connection, and it says gooseneck. We don't need the gooseneck connection here, we just need a direct connection, I believe. Yes, and it will make it work. Now here the handrail also has a gooseneck. We don't need that. Let's just switch to direct, and it should make it exactly like we see on the picture. That's exactly like the real stairs. Now here, I think when I was trying to change this connection, I had some issues with it, but let's see. Gooseneck, if we change this to direct, I'm not sure if it's, oh, I think I know what that is. So it needs some extension. So we need to go to the connection and make sure we have some number here, horizontal offset. I believe it was like 4 inches, or okay, not 4, maybe was it 2 inches? Yeah, almost. I think it was like 2 1/4. So I can type 2 1/4, and yes, it was exactly like what we see here. This is so much easier to build now than instead of trying to generate a separate segment for each of these flights of stairs. And now let's finally pick this one. I think this was the most kind of weird connection here. Let's see if I would switch it to direct. I'm not sure if it's, yeah, it's not gonna work. But again, let's try to add a connection. Let's try 2 inches first. Yeah, you see, it actually breaks it down. Instead of like here, it continues horizontally and then goes down. Well, I'm not sure again if this is really correct connection on this real set of stairs, because I was just thinking if we make it 0 here, and if we see that this pipe on the top rail here cannot really connect well with this one, and we could potentially imagine like adding a connection towards this, but then if you do that, if you turn this pipe horizontally towards this rail, then you would have to somehow raise up this bar, but you can't raise it because it must be consistent. So as I understand it, it must be, there must be this type of connection, or maybe 1 inch I could try. No, it doesn't work with 1 inch. 2 inches, yeah, and again, it does not look like on that picture, but my understanding is this is per code, and this should be technically correct, but let me know if I'm wrong and if you find a better solution. But if I, by the way, if I would turn off all of these elements, but maybe, yeah, and turn on the segments, and I think this could be the problem, because this surface, we see that it's kind of a little bit below this one here, and maybe that's the reason why it cannot connect. So we could try to maybe figure out why. We could maybe try to lower this down somehow, but based on what I measured, like this top rail is still at the correct height, so I'm not sure how does this really work. It seems to me that it should be just kind of broken like this. And again, we can try the gooseneck, but I think, yeah, here it is. By the way, the gooseneck kind of helps, but it turns to that rail horizontally. It does not break down, but it still breaks down after, right? It must connect with this pipe because it's below. You cannot do it in other way. So I would probably, well, I can try to make it maybe 1 inch to see if that will. No, that doesn't help. And if I do 0, yeah, these settings weren't affected. So looks like the gooseneck connection is probably the best in this particular situation. So I would escape, and yeah, this is how it looks. And you see, we built this rail much faster, so it's more efficient to just snap to the stairs and use the associative settings. Now, a couple of things. We need to check these fixings. So here we see we don't have any fixings on this mid segment. So I would now have to click Edit and adjust individual segments. I will turn on the segments. Now select this segment, go to its settings, and let's see how we can turn on fixings. And remember, it's under handrails, right? Because the fixing is an element that is kind of attached. It's under the handrail settings. So I can just simply turn off fixings just like that, and it will disappear. That's correct. Now I need to also make sure that I don't have any post here. So why I even see this post, and that's because each segment generates a post that's supposed to be in the middle of that segment. So ArchiCAD already identified that this is the midpoint of this segment and generated this inner post. It's called inner post in ArchiCAD. And because the other segments are much longer, the midpoint will be obviously the distance between midpoint and each end will be much longer. So, well, we don't need a midpoint. We don't need a inner post here, but we do need it here. So that's why I have to adjust it manually. I have to, because if I would turn off inner posts in global settings, it will turn off all of them, right? So this time I would just select the inner post and go to the settings and simply change it to, by the way, there are different shapes. I would probably suggest to use like this solid option to generate less polygons in the model. So I would just say ½ inch. Was it ½ inch? I think so. Yes, and it should be good. Now the only thing is I have to move it up, so I could click here. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it allows me to move it up. So even though I know that this is not what this is inner post, it's not what this element is, because this I can't even select. I must adjust the entire segment, and those are called balusters. But at the same time, I just set up the way how the inner post look like exactly the same as the baluster components. So that's why we don't see visually any difference. I just need to overwrite, but not the material. Remember, we have to go to 3D representation and change it here under surface. I'm sorry, I clicked on materials again. So we have to, yeah, so these are the icons. So this little box represents the building material, and this little brush icon represents the surface. So the material is what it's made of, and the surface is how it's covered. So normally the surface is just a texture, and material has also a hedge or fill attached to it. Now the surface also has it, but you cannot see the surface in a section, but material you can. All right, so I change that, say okay, this is good. Now that looks good, very similar to this condition here. Probably the height of the top rail, because I didn't measure, maybe we have it under here, but there are requirements per code that you have to follow, so make sure you have proper height. But default ArchiCAD stairs, I mean the railings, already were preset with correct properties and height, so you could still adjust them if needed, because there is like a variables that you could use for your handrails and guardrails. And now I would select the entire rail and go to the settings and try to change the colors, the finishes of this inner post, but I'm not sure if it will really change it now, because we have this warning symbol here that wants us to reset custom nodes, but we don't want to reset it now. So let's see, if I go to inner post and check 3D, yeah, no, it's good. So it says trim nickel. I will change it to paint white, and it should, yeah, it works. The last thing, I would have to change the fixings, going to handrails and 3D representation, and yeah, I didn't change it here, so this is paint white. Excellent. This is looking much better now. Change it everywhere. Now the only thing, so by default we had this end component here. I would now just go to the settings and go to and this is, remember, this is top rail, so I go to, actually if I go to top rail I don't see it because I only see settings for the for this pipe. But if I want to find the settings of the end component, I have to go to ends, and here I have to select the top rail, which was selected by default, and finally under top rail end component I can switch this to none and it will disappear. But now I have to also modify this connection, and this is called connection. So I would escape, select, click edit, click on the connection, and I can just try to change it to this one, and remember we will switch it to querying in segment plane, horizontal. Okay, that's what we need. We need to make it straight, and I think 1 inch should probably be fine, or maybe even, for some reason it didn't, oh, because I didn't set any distance here. Let's try 1 inch and see if that will, yeah, that will help. Well, it kind of builds this almost right. We should just click on this post and try to move it down, and now you see there's this another problem we have to deal with. We have to select this vertical post, go to the style and dimensions, and change the top ending to horizontal, and voila, it's working. Well, it's, so see, it's almost clear. I think if I change this distance to maybe ½ inch, you see if that will help. Okay, that was too much, and you just have to play with dimensions and find out the proper, yeah, I think it was something like, yeah, this is actually correct, 7/8. And now I can again select the post and raise it up slightly and snap it to this one. All right, this is good. We have clear connection here. Yeah, this and still not, I didn't set it up, so let me change the radius. And I think I switched to that one. 6 inches, we can do 1/6. And again, this was the only element that I was not able to set up properly. Well, we can extend it. So I would click here and just make it like this. But the settings of this handrail end only allow me to, if I switch to this option, it will rotate the lower bar pipe similar, like exact same way as this one. It does not let me change the angle of this. Therefore, I would just simply change it to this second option, and then I would just model the profile and attach it back to the post as a separate component. I could just use a beam and build a 1.5 inch profile and just kind of edit it, create it, and have it as a separate component. Yeah, let's also change the color for right now. Paint white. Excellent. Now let's escape from here, and we just realized that this method was really much easier to build the entire railing as one element that consists of 3 segments, instead of trying to build separate 2 separate elements and trying to connect them in the middle. We have to try to we always need to avoid building individual elements if we can snap to the existing conditions and just continue the segments and have one element. So, okay, so this is looking good. Now let's look at this handrail here. We did this handrail in previous videos, so we can now take properties of this handrail with option key and hit command option and inject this settings to this one, and it will rebuild it for us. And it looks good, with the exception that there is no extension right here and there, but we know how to do that. Now we just need to continue like the segment. So let's build this. Once again, I will build a section. Let me move this maybe out of here by another 20 feet, so it's not in the view. And before I do that, let me open this section, and just so we take a look at how it's supposed to be built. And remember, we must continue the handrail down to the floor level and then extend by, I believe, 12 inches. Yeah, 1 foot. And here we have to stop it at the nosing here, and then we have 12 inches extension here. So let's go to the other section. Now I think it's actually better to build finally some landing here and there. So let's do that so we can better see and understand our stairs. And I already built a landing here. So this is just a slab that has concrete material, and it has 4 inches. I can show you how I did it. So I just select a slab and make sure the material is set to be concrete, and then 4 inches for thickness, and I set up the height 5 feet. Remember, if we look at at this section here, right, we have 5 feet high in here, so that's my height. And I would enter first corner of rectangular slab, and I'm using this particular geometry method, the rectangular, and then finally close it up here. So if I would now look at my stairs, I will see the landing, and of course I would also see it in the section if I go here. Now it's right there. Let's also build the other one. I have to follow the reference and have to check the dimension. Okay, this is 7'4", the depth of that landing. I would just take properties of this. Actually, I already built it on the, I have to go to the second floor this time, right? And this is my landing I already built. If I measure, it has 7, actually it has 7.3, I think we need 7.4, yeah, it was a slight mistake. I can adjust it by 1 inch, and 7.4. I'll just take it and copy it with plus, holding shift, and snap it to my stairs. And now I would extend this section as well, so we can see the entire stair. And in 3D, now it's good. Now we start to see these issues with stringers, which we will fix in a moment. And let's go back to the section. All right. We were going to adjust the handrail. Now I would select it and again activate if you don't have the guidelines. And now I would snap this to my blue line. Sometimes it won't snap, but you have to do it again. But that's how it works. And now we need to continue building. We need to move this point right first to here. And I click it. When I click, you see it starts to move the entire thing. It's because by default the last setting was drag, and I want to move node instead. So I would check this option here, and now it let me continue the rail. Snap. This is 11 inches, and now I also need to click on this point here, because I believe after I changed this segment slightly, I think I still have a break line here, maybe. But we can check that in 3D, by the way. I'm just curious how that, because we need to also move the other point. We select the handrail, click edit, and click segments. Yeah, so after we move that point, it generated a new segment here. And what we need, let me see this one here. Yes, that's what we need, but we need to make sure that it touches the ground and then turns horizontally. In our case, we still have, looks like we still have this point here. So we need to make sure that we go to the settings. Again, I will open this section and select the handrail and click anywhere here. It could be in the middle or doesn't matter where. And this time I would say insert new node is not what I actually want, because it will, or maybe it's, let's see, I'm just thinking how many components I'll end up having. No, I think that's how we did. I'm doing something wrong. So this is the look of that segment. Oh, okay. Now we don't have a separate segment because it made it as one, and in this situation we have a separate segment. Yeah, I see. Even after I did this, sometimes these settings, there are so many of them that you have to do it again to kind of remember. Right, so let's see. I have, sorry, let me try again. So we have the segment. If I look at this, we build it as a separate, yeah, it continues and then it turns. All right, so let's do the same in this section. Click edit. Actually, you don't need to edit. We need to continue to here. And then we need to click here, and I have to click on the pencil and finally continue the segment. So I have to type 1 foot and click again, and now it should be good. And here I should just click and extend by 1 foot. Click again. This is all right. Let's look in the 3D. Yeah, that's exactly, see, that's exactly what we need. A fixing is where it's supposed to be. Like on that picture, we have one here, one in the middle, and one at that extension. And if we look at this picture, let's see if, oh, this one is actually a little different. I think because this flight of stairs is longer, requires more fixings. Sorry, I was looking at that one, and it actually built us more fixings, but maybe too many. That what we need. Looks like this one only has 4, so it has one at the extension at the top. We can't see from here, but see if I have another picture, but yeah, we can't see that end. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that there's just another, these two are like centered equally, and we have one at each extension. So I would select the handrail and go to edit, select the not the top rail, but rather the segment. I have to turn it on. I would select the segment, and we need to make sure we have, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, we just have 2. So how do we do that? We have to change the distribution of our fixings. So go to railings, fixing distribution, and so distance looks like it's distributed by pattern, and I should just, I could just change this distance probably to a bigger number. Let's see, 6. Yeah. So if I do 8. Yeah. So, well, we could instead try to distribute by divisions, and I think that would be the good idea. We need 3 divisions, or we need 2 divisions. Let's see. Distance from ends, okay. This looks like we just need 1 division to make it work. Right. And we can even set up distance from ends. Obviously, distance from ends is more than 4 inches. It's probably like maybe 4 feet. Let's try that. Yeah, even more. Oh, looks like the 2 feet is the maximum number. It won't let us do it that way for some reason. You see, I change it to bigger number and it jumps back. Let's see, 5. Oh no, it was good. I inserted wrong dimension then. 4 feet. Yeah, this looks about right. This looks about right. All right, I'm happy with this settings of the handrail, and now let's build the last stairs, probably, or let's finish. Yeah, let's build the last stairs. Let's go to, now we have to go to the 2nd floor, and let's look at the 2nd floor reference. Enlarge 2nd floor plan. So as you can see, it has the exact same amount of threads on each flight. If I scroll down, yeah, it says 12 risers at 70 inch each, 11 threads, right? And the same exact condition here. Let me copy, oops. I'm selecting with Shift and clicking Tab to be able to select the line work. So I just want to copy this 3 more threads, the line work, so I can now see where do I have to start building my stairs. So this time let's look at the section, and let's see, we have, okay, it's going to be 14 feet, right? And each flight will have 7 feet high. And if I look in the section, if I open, I can actually move this now, that, and open the section. That's what I have. I already set up the floor height. So as you can see, this is 12 and this is 26, so I have 14 feet. And to set up the story settings, you have to go to Navigator and right click, go to story settings and set it up in here. So I already did that. Now, what else? Let's just go to plan, the second plan. Pick properties from any of the stairs. Again, I could just pick the settings. And after I do that, I have to make sure I have to change the settings of that stair. So we need to make sure it will start at the 2nd floor, and the top link will be the 3rd, so it will be linked. Now it gives me the stair height 9 feet. That's because the bottom offset was set to be 5. Remember, because it remembered the previous settings. So we just need to change it to 0. And automatically I will have this calculation. So ArchiCAD is giving me some options because of this range between 6 to 7 inches for the riser height. I can now decide how many risers I may have, and if I change the number, it will change the height of that riser. But if I want 7 inch, then it will give me exact number 24. So that's exactly what I need. We're gonna leave everything as is and everything else as is, and just click OK because the width is still the same. I would still start with riser and end with thread. I'm sorry, end with riser, and click OK. Whoa! So what just changed? Looks like, you see, I was selecting the stairs and I actually changed this one. So let me go back and do this again. I have to be careful when I'm setting up my, it somehow got select the stairs. So after I took properties of it. So after I did it, I should click escape, make sure this is deselected, and do this again. So 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 0 here, 24 risers at 7 inches height. This is all correct. All right, it should work now. Let's click OK. And I would still turn on the one of these railings. I'll probably just check. Yeah, okay, I can check both of them just so you see how it will build the railings. Let's start building it. So just to make sure, I'm on the 2nd floor, and this time we will build 2 flights and a landing at the same time. Before we just built individual flights of stairs. So click here, and you see, if I continue, it just adds more and more threads. So I have to click to enter the next vertex of stair baseline, how it says at the bottom left corner. And after that, you see, it allows me to kind of continue or rotate it around. What I need to do, I have to click now on the landing to explain ArchiCAD that from this point, from this node, I now want a landing, and I may want a longer landing even that You see, it gives me multiple options to generate landings. So I would turn to here, and then again, after I finished my landing, now I have to explain that there's no more landing. Now I have to switch back to the flight. Click here, and I'm going to continue and finish right there. Okay, it just generated that stairs for us. Let's take a look in 3D. And this is how it looks. We can now, we now see that the handrail doesn't work, so we would need to fix that. Let's see how quickly we can do it. So if I press Option and pick Properties, and then kind of set them into this one. Okay, that was relatively fast. Let's take a look at the connections. It looks like we still need to make this same exact adjustments. Well, why is that? Because we would have to save favorites. I think if we would save this as a favorite and then select this stair and just double click on favorite, it should probably remember all of the connections. So let's try that. So if I select the stairs, the railing, and go to the settings, and I would select the entire, like the head of it, click on this little star, and I would just save this as a new favorite. I see I've already saved before some previous guardrail, but I would just call it a railing 1. Let's just do it like that. Yeah, and I can see that even after I did that, the ends are still in the preview are not overwritten with paint white, and I know why, because we would have to reset the settings and start over, but we'll do that later. Now if I select, I'm just curious how the connection will work, so we don't need to adjust them again. If I select the handrail, the rail settings, go to here, actually it's easier to just click on the flyout, and now double click on this railing 1. No, didn't change. Well, that just means it cannot remember like unique settings of these connections probably, and it may probably remember the overall connections, but because we sometimes have direct connections, sometimes we have gooseneck connection, it somehow does not remember that. But what you can do, you can actually save a favorite of a connection. Let's see if I did it before. I'm not sure if it's that. Let me just show you. Since we already set up this particular connection, let's say this is our handrail connection that we want, I can go here and I can click here and I can say, okay, looks like I already had some. I just don't remember if it's that, but let's click plus and just say handrail 02. So we know that this is, yeah, now I see that it was a different one. And I would save this, I would select also this one. And this is top rail connection, so I would just call it, let's say top rail 02. And click OK. So since now we saved these favorites, we could now apply them to this new rail. I would select it, select the handrail connection, click on the flyout, and now it even remembers that second highlights. I double click and it changes it. I would select this, I would double click and it changes. So as you can see, we can save favorites for any of these components. For example, this one was something that we struggled with. I think, let's see, I probably saved it as that, handrail 01, let's see. Yeah, I think it was that. And this was probably that I saved before as guardrail 01. We should just be consistent and make sure we're calling it correctly the same every time. All right, this is good. Now, as we just see that it looks like we have some problems with this stringer. Something weird is happening. How to fix that? Well, that's actually easy. We have to select the stairs and go to edit. We can do edit, or we can go to global settings and select the stringer. And as you can see, I can select individually. I can select them individually. So what this is a stringer that is kind of tries to turn. And so if we go to the settings of it, and so you see there's this support connection settings. Let me close the rest of it so that it's not overwhelming. But there are support connection of the this particular stringer, and we can just click on it and make sure it's set to vertical cut instead, and just say OK. And as you can see now, this particular stringer, it just offsetted. Well, it's offsetted because there was also 11 inches, so I'll change it to 0, and now it will be connected there. Now we still have this bottom one. Let's see, if I select the stringer, I can go to the settings, make sure, okay, it's set to vertical. Oh no, that's the bottom one. We need to select it here, and you see by default it's set also as a bisector. We don't need that. We just have to cut it vertically and make sure it's, yeah, set OK. This should be good. I think what also is different on, if we look at some other pictures, like maybe here, we see that the distance from the nosing to the top of that stringer is actually slightly, what we have, it's probably slightly more, or maybe I already adjusted it, but you can select this there and go to the stringers and adjust. No, I did not change. So we can change it to 1 inch, this distance here, let's say. And okay, it looks like it changed on the other one. I just saw that, but it's set to uniform. And we need to also do this for landing. No, it's not that. I think the reason why it didn't change is the same reason, because we started to modify individual components, and after that it does not want to change. Oh, no, that's left, but it's set to uniform, so it should work. So normally when we go to structure, we set up where we want to see stringers, and then we have the option to set them up. But because this checkbox, it must work for both of that. Not sure if it did change. It looks like it changed here, but it did not change there. If I click edit now and select the stringer, yeah, it still remain as 1 inch. Still remain as one inch. And I somehow cannot change it globally. If I go, yeah, it says reset. But if I reset custom structures, let's see what will happen. Yeah, it will give us back these weird connections, but this time it changed the distance to 1 inch. But now, so we should first change the entire settings, and then we can change the stringer connection settings, the support connection. But we can also change them globally. Let's open flight stringers, open support connections now, and now make sure it's set to vertical. Let's make sure this also set to, this is already set to vertical, so that's good. This is also vertical. This one, I believe, is supposed to be vertical too. We can always change that. Now it should, yeah, it should change it back. So it looks good to me. Let's see the. Yeah, it looks good. Now, what is not looking good is this handrail, and we could, like we did last time, parameters from here and just apply it to here. But we don't have the handrail running all the way like around these stairs. We just have it like the same as this. So I would probably I would delete it, and we would have to build it separately. I could just, well, I'm not going to repeat this over again, but we already did this exercise. And I could, by the way, I could just copy this. If I go to the first floor, it will not be associative, so but it will still look, I can just Command C, copy this handrail, go to the second floor and paste it. Let's see. Oh, it will not work because this flight has more threads, but we can just go to the section. Let me extend this section a bit. And this time, all I need to do is just to, and it looks like, you see when I've selected it, just, it is below, so it's lower than it's supposed to be. Let's see the height of it. Okay, it says 0, but this one, it says 12 to project 0, so I should change it to, yeah, I could just move it like this. I could just pick it and move it. Let's see, where that reference, yeah, it must touch the nosing, so that's what, oh, okay, I see, it actually messed up a little bit right here, so we can click here, click on this offset and try to move it up, one move. Right, let's just do it individually, so I would move this by 3 inches and move that by 3 inches, and now it should be fine with the exception of this segment. So let me first see if I can do it that way. I would extend it to here, and then I would extend it by 1 foot, and see if I can, yes, I can continue that line, and I actually should drag the reference line like this. I should continue to here, and then I should, I just need to know where the 1 foot is, so I would build some reference here, 1 by 1, and I know that this node's supposed to be here. Yeah, this is good now, with the exception of the fixings, right, that we now need to edit, and because this is, again, this segment is much, we cannot edit, we cannot see the surface in a section, but because of this segment is much longer than that, we need to make some adjustments. Let me select the handrail, go to edit, select the segment, and go to fix and distribution, make sure that this distance is probably like 8 feet. Yeah. This is not that picture, I think. No, if I, no, yeah, I don't have the picture from that landing. But I assume that should be right, or we probably need another one. Anyway, no, we have 2, right? So it should work like that. That's actually exactly that view. Yeah, too many stairs around, so can get confused. All right, so the last step, what we need, and by the way, let me build a landing also here. I would go to my third floor, and I already built this. Again, it should be 7.4. I would copy the landing to here, go to, and by the way, if you don't see the, that's another, we should probably do another video for how to really set the handrail. But let me select it and click here so we can see it in plan. And the last thing what I would do, I would have to continue this segment and go to third floor, select the, let me see, I'm on the third floor. Where's my, oh, I don't see the actual, so for some reason I don't see this rail on the third floor. And if I go to the settings, I think it's because of the settings. Yeah, it says home show, so you see it says show on home and 1 story down. We actually have to change it to show on home story and 1 story up. And then if I click OK and go to the third floor, I finally can see it. All right, now we just need to click on it basically, and click on the pencil, and just, it is associative, so it's all good. We just need to finish it like this to associate, but we need to snap to, for some reason it won't snap to the, yeah, now with the tab I can snap to the landing. Now if we go up, it almost right, with the exception of this vertical inner post for some reason. I think the reason is because it was trying to still kind of snap to this stair, but it's not a big deal. We can select and click on it, and we should be able to adjust it. So if I click, let's see, I go up and just snap to here. Okay, now it just moved everything up. Let's see, okay, the segment height, if I change this to 0, okay, so that's what the 0 is. Let me see if I can segment bottom. So let me just move it up. Yeah, move it down and then drag that point down. It should work now. Yeah, it will work now. Oh yeah, so this, since this is post, it should actually be at the bottom. Yeah, this is exactly right. And I would terminate this. I would say I don't need any connection. I would set this to 0. And yeah, I know I could actually still extend it by whatever number of inches it's needed to the wall, and change it to paint white. And as you can see, this particular rail is the most complex because it consists of multiple segments, and like it's all in the space. It's a complicated railing, but this is just an example that you could continue and build as many segments as you want, and you would just need to kind of gently adjust the connections here and there. So this connection here looks like it's a little weird. We can try to connect it. Gooseneck. Did we have direct, or maybe we had? Let's try direct, and let's try to extend it by 4 inches. Yeah, it was, I believe it was here where we tried to play with it, and yeah, it was something like 2 1/4 or something. Yeah, it's good. And yeah, I think we could still, we probably don't need 2 of this fixings here, which is something we still could figure out and change. But I think at this point we're good. With the exception that we did not connect these 2 handrails, but it's gonna be basically what we did in our previous set of stairs, where we had separate railings, and we did connect them. So we could also connect them in here as well, following the same method. That was it. I think probably we could still try to generate just one railing, kind of trying to snap to all of this, but in 3D, all of the stairs, instead of having a couple of segments. So now we have how many elements? We have one here, we have one here. We only have 2 elements. I think it's probably the correct way of doing it, because in plan you cannot snap to multiple floors, so you would probably do that in 3D, but it gets kind of complicated, which is probably still doable. But I'm in general happy with this settings and with the stairs. I hope it was helpful, and thank you very much for watching. It's another hour, and appreciate your time, and let me know if there will be any questions. Thank you.